Welcome back to Eastlink Magazine. Well, a bit earlier today, we had a chance to head out onto the trails, and we met up with Scott Hennigar. Scott is one of the professors here at Acadia University, and he had some really good tips for enjoying the winter safely. Scott, I guess a first place to start is the fact that it's wintertime. A lot of people like to hibernate in the winter, but they shouldn't. They should be out enjoying the winter weather and staying active. But you have some safety tips, some real important things to talk about as far as enjoying the outdoor weather this time of year.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think people need to embrace winter. You're not going to get away from it. It's going to come every year, and it's going to be cold, it's going to be wet, it's going to be damp, but no need to stay indoors. All you need to do is, plan carefully, prepare properly, and you can go out and do stuff every day, and the winter blues will go away, and the winter will go much faster as well.
Now, I know a lot of people think, I'm just going to go out for a quick day trip or even maybe an afternoon out on some of the hiking trails or maybe into the woods in Nova Scotia. They know their backyard, they think. But that can be almost as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than, say, preparing to go out for a couple of, say, a weekend in the winter.
Yes, if you're going out for several days, you generally take all the provisions you need, change of clothes, shelter, food, and so on. But if you're going out for an afternoon, many people do not bother preparing or doing anything about it. And there's some really easy things you can do which could save your life.
Well, mention a few. What are some of the key things that people really should think about before they head out?
Okay, one of the best risk management tools you can use is simply tell someone you trust where you're going, when you're going to be back, and what you plan to do there. And if you don't come back when you're supposed to come back, that person can, talk to authorities, can come and look for you or whatever. And it's really important that you go where you say you're going. Don't go somewhere else. If you're partway down the road and you say, well, I don't think we should go to wherever, let's change our plan. That's a big mistake because searchers can, if you're immobilized for whatever reason in the backcountry, searchers cannot find you if they do not know where to look. And searching for cars is not uncommon before we can search for lost people.
And we've heard a lot of that in the news even over the last couple of years.
Yes, there's been many situations. And another key tip is check your weather forecast. Here in Nova Scotia, we have all kinds of things that will cause the weather to change very quickly. And you see it yesterday, it was +5 here where I'm standing. And today it's -12 and quite a cold wind blowing. And, if you went out yesterday dressed for +5 and were out overnight last night, you would be in a terrible situation without, understanding what's coming at you.
So I guess if you are planning, say, a day trip into the woods, pack like you're staying overnight?
Well, not necessarily like you're staying overnight, but pack in case you would have to stay overnight. I'm wearing a pack on my back now, which has quite a few items in it, more than perhaps most people need to carry, but I do instruct in the outdoors, so I tend to carry more. But think about things like having an extra layer of clothing. I always carry 12 months a year a toque and mittens in my pack because even in summertime at night it gets very cold. I always carry rain gear, except in the colder parts of the winter, when I would replace my rain gear with another layer. Water, some high energy food, a really simple and inexpensive life-saving device is to go to a hardware store and buy a 12-foot by 10-foot sheet of 6mm plastic, the construction plastic, and carry that in your pack. And if you need a shelter, emergency shelter, you can fit yourself under it quite easily and several people if you have to under it. And it's waterproof, it's windproof, and you can collect solar energy with it as well. And if you end up damaging it or losing it, then it's not a big deal. It's not like you have to carry a tent or anything like that. Carry some twine, a map and a compass, and knowing how to use them is really important. Everyone should know how to use a map and a compass, even before they learn to GPS, because if your GPS were to fail, you need to go back to the map and compass, and it's something I carry both in my pack.
Now, do you suggest that maybe anybody who's, wants to do wilderness adventures of some kind, even if they're just simple trips, should really look at taking some kind of course?
Well, it's smart to take some training, and if you can't find the training, a good thing to do is if you're going to go winter camping or anything like that, it's okay to practice in your backyard. And if things aren't going very well, you can just go simply into your house, right? Just think about checking your weather, telling people where you're going, getting the right gear, dress in layers, stay away from cotton, and get out and enjoy the winter. It's cold here today, but it's a beautiful day, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be.
Well, those are some really important tips for enjoying the winter safely.